Madison, a 12-year-old girl with curly chestnut hair and bright blue eyes, had always been fascinated by abandoned buildings. There was something hauntingly beautiful about them, a sense of mystery that lured her in. She lived on a small farm in the countryside, surrounded by vast fields and a few dilapidated structures that had been forgotten by time. One sunny afternoon, as Madison explored the outskirts of the farm, she stumbled upon an old, weather-worn barn. Its wooden planks creaked under her weight as she cautiously pushed open the heavy door. Inside, the air was thick with dust, and the faint scent of hay still lingered. The sunlight streamed through cracks in the walls, casting eerie shadows on the hay-covered floor. As Madison ventured further into the barn, her heart skipped a beat when she noticed a small, worn-out teddy bear lying abandoned in a corner. It seemed strangely out of place, a lonely relic from the past. She reached down to pick it up, her fingers brushing against its faded fur. Just then, a sound startled her, a soft giggle, almost like a child's laughter. Madison's eyes widened, and a shiver ran down her spine. She turned around, scanning the barn for any sign of movement. But there was nothing, just the silence that hung heavy in the air. She tried to brush off the uneasiness, convincing herself that it must have been her imagination playing tricks on her. Determined to shake off the eerie feeling, Madison continued to explore the barn. As she made her way through the dimly lit space, she noticed a narrow staircase hidden behind a stack of hay bales. Curiosity got the better of her, and she climbed the stairs, her heart pounding in her chest. At the top of the staircase, Madison found herself in a small attic. The room was cluttered with old furniture covered in dusty sheets. Cobwebs hung from the rafters, swaying slightly in the faint breeze. It was there, in the far corner of the attic, that she saw it, a faded photograph lying on a rickety table. Madison picked up the photograph, her eyes widening as she realized it was a picture of a young girl, no older than 5 or 6, with curly chestnut hair and bright blue eyes, just like her own. The girl's smile was infectious, but there was a hint of sadness in her eyes. As Madison examined the photograph, a chilling realization washed over her. She couldn't help but wonder, who was this girl, and why did she look so much like her? Something about the photograph made her feel connected to the past, as if the echoes of another time were reaching out to her. Lost in her thoughts, Madison was startled by a noise downstairs, a low, rumbling growl. Her heart raced as she hurriedly made her way down the staircase. The sound grew louder and closer, echoing through the empty barn. She reached the bottom, her eyes widening in terror as she came face to face with a pair of glowing yellow eyes in the darkness. Before she could react, a large, shadowy figure lunged at her, knocking her to the ground. She screamed for help, her voice echoing through the empty fields. But there was no one to hear her cries. Madison lay on the ground, her heart pounding in her chest as she stared up at the menacing figure standing over her. The creature's snarls filled the barn, sending shivers down her spine. Panic surged through her veins as she realized she was trapped, alone, and defenseless. Summoning every ounce of courage she had, Madison scrambled to her feet and darted toward the barn door. The creature, a massive dog-like beast with matted fur and sharp, gleaming teeth, pursued her with a ferocity that chilled her to the bone. It seemed determined to keep her from escaping. With a burst of adrenaline, Madison burst through the barn doors, sunlight flooding her vision. She sprinted across the farm, her lungs burning, desperately searching for any sign of help. As she ran, she glanced back and caught a glimpse of the creature disappearing into the shadows of the barn. Fear propelled her forward, and she reached the farmhouse, gasping for breath. She burst through the front door, startling her parents, who had been engrossed in their own chores. They rushed to her side, concern etched on their faces. Breathlessly, Madison recounted her harrowing encounter in the barn. Her parents listened intently, their expressions shifting from concern to bewilderment. They assured her that there were no such creatures on their farm, and that she must have imagined it. But Madison couldn't shake off the feeling that there was something more to the abandoned buildings on their land, something darker and more mysterious than she had ever imagined. Determined to uncover the truth, she embarked on a quest to unravel the secrets of her family's farm. Over the next few days, Madison delved into the history of the farm, scouring old records and piecing together fragments of information. She discovered that the farm had been owned by a family decades ago, who had mysteriously vanished without a trace. Their disappearance had remained an unsolved local legend, haunting the whispers of the town. As Madison dug deeper, she stumbled upon an old newspaper article from the past, a chilling headline that sent shivers down her spine. It detailed the tragic tale of a little girl, just like her, who had gone missing on the farm years ago. The girl's name was Amelia, and she had never been found. Madison's heart sank as she realized the uncanny resemblance between herself and the girl in the photograph she had found in the attic. Could it be possible that she was somehow connected to Amelia, that their fates were intertwined? Determined to uncover the truth, Madison ventured back to the abandoned barn, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and anticipation. The afternoon sun cast long shadows as she cautiously stepped inside, her senses on high alert. The barn seemed even more eerie than before, as if it held a dark secret waiting to be revealed. As Madison explored further, she stumbled upon a hidden trapdoor concealed beneath a thick layer of hay. With trembling hands, she pushed aside the hay and lifted the trapdoor, revealing a narrow staircase leading into darkness. The air grew colder, and a sense of foreboding filled her. Summoning her courage, Madison descended into the depths of the hidden passage. The air was stale, and the sound of her footsteps echoed eerily. As she reached the bottom, her breath caught in her throat. A hidden chamber stretched out before her, filled with worn-out toys and faded photographs. Among the scattered toys, Madison's eyes locked onto a familiar sight, a worn-out teddy bear, identical to the one she had found in the barn. It was then that she heard a faint whisper, a voice that seemed to emanate from the shadows. Madison's heart skipped a beat as she strained to hear the whisper again. The voice sounded distant, yet hauntingly familiar. She moved cautiously through the dimly lit chamber, her fingers trembling as she reached out to pick up the teddy bear. As she did, the voice grew stronger, guiding her further into the depths of the hidden room. Following the ethereal whispers, Madison's eyes fell upon a series of old photographs scattered on a small wooden table. The images depicted a joyous family, capturing moments of laughter and happiness. Among the smiling faces, she recognized her own parents, but something else caught her attention. A young girl with curly chestnut hair and bright blue eyes, just like Madison and the girl in the attic photograph. A chill ran down Madison's spine as she realized the truth. The girl in the photographs was Amelia, the missing child from the newspaper article. She was a part of her family's history, a forgotten chapter that held the key to the mysteries of the farm. Feeling a surge of determination, Madison continued to explore the hidden chamber. Among the dusty relics, she discovered an old journal, its pages yellowed with age. As she carefully flipped through the fragile pages, she discovered the writings of a grieving mother, pouring her heart onto the paper. The journal revealed a tragic tale of loss and anguish. Amelia's mother, Elizabeth, wrote of her desperation to find her missing daughter, her relentless search leading her deeper into the farm's secrets. Elizabeth believed that the abandoned buildings held the answers, that they were somehow connected to Amelia's disappearance. Driven by a mother's love, Elizabeth had explored every nook and cranny of the farm, uncovering hidden passages and long-forgotten rooms. But her quest for the truth had consumed her, driving her to the brink of madness. The journal ended abruptly, leaving Madison with more questions than answers. As she pieced together the fragments of the past, Madison couldn't shake off the feeling that she was destined to find Amelia, to bring closure to the family that had been torn apart. The whispers led her to a crumbling cellar beneath the hidden chamber, where a revelation awaited her. Within the dimly lit cellar, Madison's eyes fell upon a tattered blanket, stained with age. As she lifted it, her heart sank. Beneath the blanket lay a small, weathered skeleton, the remains of Amelia. Tears welled up in Madison's eyes as she realized the tragic fate of the little girl who shared her features. But there was still one final piece of the puzzle. Madison's instincts guided her to an old oak tree near the farmhouse. Beneath its gnarled roots, she uncovered a box, a final testament to Amelia's memory. Inside, she found a locket, adorned with a photograph of Amelia and her mother, Elizabeth, embracing in happier times. With a heavy heart, Madison returned to her own parents, clutching the locket tightly in her hand. She shared the truth with them, the stories of Amelia and Elizabeth, and the fate that had befallen their family all those years ago. Together, they mourned the loss of Amelia and sought solace in finally uncovering the secrets that had haunted their farm for decades. Madison's discovery brought closure to the long-forgotten tragedy, allowing Amelia's spirit to rest. The abandoned buildings, once shrouded in mystery, became a symbol of remembrance, a reminder that even in the darkest corners, there is hope for healing and resolution. As the years passed, Madison carried the memory of Amelia with her, cherishing the locket and the lessons she had learned. She vowed never to forget the importance of family, the enduring power of love, and the resilience of the human spirit. And the abandoned buildings on the farm stood as a testament to the intertwined fates of two girls, forever connected by their shared lineage and the bond that transcended time. The wind howled through the desolate streets as Patrick stood before the towering abandoned building. Its windows were shattered, and the once majestic facade now wore a decrepit and eerie appearance. Patrick's heart pounded in his chest, but he couldn't resist the allure of the building's dark secrets. With a deep breath, he pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside. The air inside the building was stale and heavy, suffused with an unsettling silence that enveloped Patrick. The faint beams of sunlight struggled to penetrate the thick layer of dust that coated the forgotten space. As he cautiously ventured deeper into the building, the weight of its history seemed to press upon him. Patrick had heard rumors about the building's sinister past. It was said to be haunted, its walls echoing with the ghosts of the past. Countless urban legends surrounded the place, each more chilling than the last. But Patrick was determined to uncover the truth, to confront the darkness that loomed within. As he explored the abandoned rooms, Patrick's imagination played tricks on him. Shadows danced along the walls, whispering secrets that he strained to comprehend. Every creak and groan of the decaying structure sent shivers down his spine, yet he pressed on, fueled by curiosity and a gnawing sense of unease. The further he delved, the more he discovered evidence of the building's mysterious past. Old photographs, tattered documents, and forgotten belongings hinted at the lives that once inhabited this forsaken place. Patrick couldn't help but wonder what tragedies had unfolded within these walls. One room, in particular, caught his attention. It seemed preserved, frozen in time. The furniture, although covered in dust, appeared untouched. Patrick's heart raced as he cautiously approached an old wooden desk. Among the yellowed papers, he found a journal. With trembling hands, he opened it to the first page. The faded ink revealed the musings of a tormented soul, desperate to escape the clutches of the building's malevolence. The writer spoke of inexplicable phenomena, of whispers in the night and apparitions that lurked in the shadows. The more Patrick read, the more the journal became a haunting testament to the darkness that pervaded the building. Lost in his reading, Patrick failed to notice the room growing darker. The temperature plummeted, and a bone-chilling gust of wind extinguished the candle he had brought with him. Panic set in as he realized he was not alone. Faint whispers echoed around him, growing louder and more menacing with each passing moment. Patrick's heart raced as the whispers grew louder, echoing through the desolate room. The air seemed to thicken with a malevolent presence, suffocating his senses. Fear gripped him, but he refused to succumb to the darkness that surrounded him. Summoning every ounce of courage, Patrick stumbled backward, desperate to escape the room. But as he reached the doorway, an invisible force slammed the door shut, trapping him inside. The whispers intensified, their sinister voices intertwining like a symphony of despair. His mind raced as he searched for a way out. Panic surged through his veins, threatening to paralyze him. But then, amidst the chaos, he spotted a small, hidden compartment in the desk. With trembling hands, he pried it open, revealing a rusted key. Driven by instinct, Patrick rushed to a nearby door and tried the key. To his relief, it turned, unlocking the door and granting him an escape route. He burst into the corridor beyond, desperately seeking refuge from the encroaching darkness. As he ran through the dimly lit hallway, Patrick could hear the whispers trailing behind him. The building seemed alive, its walls pulsating with a malefic energy. But he refused to give up. He would not become another victim of the building's curse. In his frantic search for an exit, Patrick stumbled upon a staircase leading to the upper floors. He hesitated for a moment, knowing that danger awaited him above. But his determination pushed him forward, step by treacherous step. The higher he climbed, the heavier the atmosphere became. The air turned icy, and a putrid stench filled his nostrils. Patrick's heart pounded, his every instinct urging him to turn back. But the thought of the building's secrets compelled him to press on. On the top floor, he discovered a room bathed in an ethereal glow. Intrigued, he cautiously stepped inside. To his astonishment, he found a makeshift shrine adorned with candles and faded photographs. It was a memorial to the building's past victims. In that moment, Patrick realized the true nature of the abandoned building. It wasn't merely haunted. It was a vessel for the tortured spirits of those who had suffered within its walls. The whispers that had pursued him were the anguished cries of the trapped souls. As he absorbed this chilling revelation, the mournful wail pierced the air. The room shook violently, threatening to collapse. Patrick knew he had to escape, to free himself from the clutches of the building's malevolence. He raced back down the staircase, the building groaning and crumbling around him. Each step was a gamble, every second a fight against time. But just as he reached the ground floor, a massive beam crashed down, blocking his path to freedom. Patrick stared at the fallen beam, his escape route now barricaded. Panic surged through him as the building trembled, threatening to collapse entirely. The whispers grew louder, their desperation fueling the encroaching chaos. In the midst of the turmoil, Patrick's eyes caught a glimmer of light emanating from a crack in the wall. A surge of hope coursed through him, and he rushed towards it, driven by a desperate instinct for survival. He squeezed through the narrow opening, emerging outside into a dimly lit alleyway. Gasping for breath, he stumbled away from the crumbling building, his heart pounding in his chest. As he distanced himself, the structure unleashed a final roar of destruction, collapsing into a heap of rubble and dust. Patrick stood there, catching his breath and surveying the wreckage. The weight of what he had just experienced settled upon him like a heavy shroud. The building, with all its haunted secrets, had been reduced to ruin. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, but Patrick couldn't shake off the lingering impact of his encounter. The whispers still haunted his dreams, their echoes a constant reminder of the building's dark past. Determined to find closure, he delved deeper into the history of the abandoned structure. Through meticulous research, Patrick uncovered the truth behind the building's haunting. It had been a place of unspeakable horrors, a former asylum where innocent souls were subjected to unimaginable cruelty. The tormented spirits of the victims had remained trapped within its walls, their anguish manifesting as the whispers that had plagued him. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Patrick embarked on a mission to honor the memory of the asylum's victims. He organized a memorial service, inviting the community to pay their respects and acknowledge the building's dark history. The event brought solace to the restless spirits, as if their suffering had finally been acknowledged and validated. As time passed, the whispers that had once tormented Patrick began to fade. The building, now a solemn reminder of the past, stood as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Patrick found peace in knowing that he had played a part in unraveling the mysteries that had plagued the abandoned structure. But as he walked away from the site for the last time, a faint whisper brushed against his ear, a bittersweet farewell from the lingering spirits. Patrick couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude for the lessons he had learned and the stories he had uncovered. The abandoned building would forever remain a haunting chapter in Patrick's life, a reminder of the thin veil between the living and the dead. And as he moved forward, he carried with him the stories of the lost souls, vowing to ensure that their voices were never forgotten.